Jonathan, it's been a while since we've done a live podcast. So, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about you? How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. Well, today's May 15th, 2025, and it's 115 days with Trump in office. We have a lot to talk about. We see the Wall Street effect, which we've had with most of our short videos that we've been posting, but I want to get a little bit more in detail about things, get your feedback, and hopefully get some comments from other people. And we can talk about comments that have been brought to our attention too through our short videos. All right. So basically, Trump right now in his 115 days outside the Mideast trip, because a lot's happening there. What are your thoughts on what's happened so far since he took office January 20th?
I think a big piece of what when he was in the election, he was saying a lot of promises, and a lot
Mm-hmm,
of what I see now are these quotes. Promises made, promises kept.
mm-hmm,
Um, I do see a lot of people commenting on the videos, and we appreciate all of that. I do see a lot of negative comments where people are thinking that we're out of our minds, that we don't know what we're talking about, but we're just simply looking at the facts of what he said and what we're seeing today.
mm-hmm,
And I think we're off to a good start. We were in a terrible position, before Trump came in, before President
mm-hmm,
Trump came in. I know a lot of people don't know where things may go. I mean, even ourselves, we don't really know how the future may look. But
mm-hmm,
we've said it many, many times. It didn't matter what president came in. It was going to be a tough 2025, and President Trump would be the one to help us ease the pain as quickly as possible. And I
mm-hmm,
think that's what we're seeing today. That he's made a lot of promises, he's kept a lot of promises, but things don't happen in 3, 4, 5 months. Things take years to really come into play. But he's
mm-hmm.
setting the stage up for a brighter end of his term. Um, I know we talked about a lot of pieces in our short videos about the stock market being going up, going down, mostly going down. Now we're seeing a couple of days in a row it's gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the stock market is not a place for the inexperienced people, traders, to go out there and just put their life savings in there. You have to know and understand the economics of what's going on right now. It's not where just put in money and then tomorrow, next month, you're going to make money. You have to really understand everything about the trades, the tariffs, all that, and how your future is going to look.
Okay. All
So yeah,
right.
it's a lot.
Now, going back to what you said, we knew that 2025 was going to be a rough year. Now, I made that call back in December of 2023. I said 24 is going to be a rough year, but 25 is going to even be a harder year. All right. That was even before, knowing who was going to be the president, what they were going to inherit. Now, granted, Trump came in. February was a good month for the stock market, everybody's portfolio. I play the long game. I have a portfolio. I'm not a day trader. Okay. So the majority of Americans out there have portfolios. It's like looking at our investments. We saw a big hit back in 2008. Then, 2020 during COVID, there was a short hit, and then, boom, it regained. But I always say, look at the rabbit and the tortoise. Okay, who always wins in the long run? It's a tortoise. Okay, it's the long game. All right, slow and steady, baby. That's the way you got to do it, like a woman likes it. Okay, so the tariffs, this had to be done. It should have been done 20 years ago. People have to realize what's happened to this country, the value of the US dollar. I'm not even going to go back 2 decades ago or a decade ago. I'm going to go back to the end of 2019. The US dollar of 2019 in December 31st, now whatever cost us a dollar, now cost us almost $1.30. Okay. It's almost 30% the US dollar has been devalued. All right. Of course, they flooded the market. They printed more money. All right. Trump did it and Biden did it, caused a huge inflation in 22. Inflation's kind of like, slowing. All right. But inflation's still there. I don't see the prices of eggs really going down or food going down in this country. Funny thing is, I talk to my friends in Europe and different nations, their food isn't that expensive. So I don't know the game that's being played at the grocery stores because this is everyday fuel people need. Okay, protein, eggs are so important. Okay, especially for your energy, your protein for children, etc. All right, so I think there's a game being played there. But overall, I understand why Trump's doing these tariffs. Do I think it's going to work out in the long run? Yes. Okay. Can I guarantee that? No. But the way Trump's a businessman and negotiator, that's what we see him playing. We saw what happened over the weekend in Geneva, Switzerland, with the U.S. Treasury Secretary. They came back. There's a 90-day reprieve. Okay. So let's see what's going to happen. You and I discussed, and I'm sure Trump's ahead of us, way ahead of us. He wants to get deals with India, Japan, the EU, so he has leverage. So he's going to finalize things. What are your thoughts on what I'm talking about here, Jonathan?
Yeah, obviously I agree with what you're saying. I think along the way we lost the USA lost its way. And I think what do I mean by that? It's more so that we used to not rely on everyone to do everything for us, and we don't want to do
Mhm.
anything, and that's why we've always gone to Eastern, Europe or Asia to get goods. China, it's easier for us to just buy it, right? Because we don't want to manufacture it in house. We don't want to do this, and the tariffs help us maintain our businesses. A lot of the manufacturing that we should have been doing all along the way, we've stopped. We pushed it to China and other European, or in this case, a lot of Asian countries, and that really hurts us now. And I think what Trump's trying to do, he's trying to bring back good jobs to the American people, and the tariffs are supposed to help influence American-owned goods being bought by Americans first, and the whole tariff game. I think we've been played along the way. We just let everyone bring their stuff here, and we don't benefit. And then when we try and sell our stuff overseas, we get messed up on that side too. So it's not an easy thing to handle, right? I don't think
Mhm.
it doesn't matter Democrat, Republican, Independent, no matter who handled it. It's a tough bridge to go over, but it had to be done. It will be, I think, over the course of the next few months and over the next few years, I think everything will be like, oh, it's a good thing we did that. We're in a much better place today than we were 4 years ago or 2 years ago, whatever it may be. So yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's a big part of what we need to see is to build something better. We need to break down what's broken, and that's a lot of the agreements we have in place.
I think it's more of a currency battle here. I think that's what's going to come down to. I think BRICS is actually, they're going to be having a summit in July, the BRIC nations in
Mhm.
Brazil. Okay, so they're actually returning where it all occurred back in 2000. I think it was 12 or 14. It was anyway. I don't think there's going to be a lot of jobs brought back to this country. Okay. And the reason why I say that, because AI is going to come into play and robotics. Robotics is a little bit further down the road, but AI is here and it's going to start advancing very quickly. I think there has to be a certain percentage of jobs that have to come here in certain industry segments. Let it be in technology, especially, should be here. T-shirts and stuff like that, keep that in Southeast Asia. We don't care. But it comes to the important things like you mentioned, Jonathan,
Pharmaceuticals, medicines. I think these are
yeah.
pieces
Oh,
that we need to be doing first.
definitely that. Okay. You got to bring that stuff back. But that's what the focus, I think, is on. I think there should be a little bit more communication and identifying these segments that they're going to bring back from the White House. They should do that so the people out there can have a better understanding of the landscape. I will say this, all right. I wasn't a Biden fan, but you know what? He's our president at the time for the next 4 years. You know what? I pray that he does the best job possible. There are so many people out there that just hate Trump. I just can't understand why. He's our president. Let's get behind him. All right. This is for America. It's not like, Democrat versus Republican. United we stand, divided we fall. We want to make things better for us. This is the last hurrah. If things don't happen, over the next 4 years for this country in the direction we should be going, you know what? I don't know what type of nation we will be if we can't get in the right direction. In all honesty.
I think a lot of what happened is that people can't see the person; they see what they're doing. Like for an instance, like when President Biden was doing a lot of the things that didn't make sense to a lot of people, you
Mm-hmm.
attack the person, right? And I think President Trump had that. that name, right? And they made him a villain. So it doesn't matter what he does, they'll
Mhm.
always, a portion of the people always not like him. But a lot of these comments that people write on a lot of these articles, a lot of these videos, um, I think it's important that we have, a way where people can go back and forth. I think the communication, that's something we lost, a little bit after COVID, where like people were being silenced. I think the communication, whether you like to hear it or not, it's important to hear. And I think we all have a valid, we all have points. We all have valid points sometimes, and we have to be heard. But to just say, "Oh, he's an idiot," or "He doesn't know what he's doing," like, let us know why. So that's a good thing in the comments. Because we all should see like what are the issues that you think that he's bringing up, and then we can talk about them. I think that's a good piece to what we can try to do going forward.
Oh, sure. Hey, listen, and I'm a big proponent. I'm glad Powell's sticking to his guns and not lowering the interest rates because he shouldn't. Okay. Personally, I feel interest rates should be no less than 5% at the banks. Okay. Everybody should be at least able to earn 5% on your money. Um, People think, oh, it should bring it down to 1 to 2%. Well, guess what? If that happens, houses are going to go up even more in price. Why did houses go up and real estate go up so crazy so quickly? Because of devaluation of the dollar. That's what ended up happening. I purchased a house, a new built house in South Carolina, at the end of September. I just found out, I was like looking at the listings. My house has already gained almost $50,000 in value in 7 months. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. Sure, I should be happy for my pockets, but I'm being honest on a level playing field. That should not happen. All right. Housing should go up incrementally. Okay. A couple of percent every year. It shouldn't jump up rapidly. It's just showing me that the US dollar is losing value. That's what it is. People have to understand the game that's played by the banks and the elitists and the deep state because all that stuff is real, people. It's real. If everybody joined hands and was united, everybody in Washington, D.C., I'm talking about, across the island, tried to push the correct agenda, not a socialist agenda for the Republic of the United States of America, we would be a much better nation if everybody worked together instead of fighting each other. These people are just assholes in Washington. They're really on both sides of the aisle, both sides, okay? And that's what it comes down to. What are your thoughts on that, Jonathan?
Again, I mean, I think we need everyone to come together. Doesn't matter who the
Mhm.
president is at the time. You're allowed to have opinions and you should voice your opinions, but at the same token, you should want America to win, right? And I think
Mhm.
that's where we're losing.
Beautiful.
Where
That's a perfect comment. We want America to win. Continue.
yeah, I mean, we want to say, oh, my country, and a lot of Europeans that come here, a lot of Asians that come to America. I always hear like, oh, my country, is much better than America. Then I always think my instant reaction is, well, then why did you come, right?
Mhm.
America is the best country in the world, and if you don't think so, tell me why. And then even more so, if you came from your other country, from Europe, Asia, South America, why did you come? Right? I mean, we're
Mhm.
we're here, we stay here because we all know that it's the best country in the world. Does it have problems? Of course it has problems. Is there
Mhm.
issues in Washington D.C.? Definitely. Has it always been like that? Maybe, but I think it's gotten worse over the last decade or two. And I think what we need to see is we need real change. We need people that are respectable people that abide by the law. They make the rules and they don't abide by them. That's a big problem that we have. A lot of the
That's
corruption.
true.
So we need honorable people to come in and guide us and be the leaders that we're asking them to be. And we need
Mhm.
to be left alone and let us live our lives in the best way we can and
Mhm.
enjoy what life's all about.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I mean, if we look at what's happening in the events over the last 3 days, Trump in the Middle East, okay, and the impact he's having, people have to look at the details of what's going on. This man is creating olive branch relationships of an area that's been known as a tinderbox for decades, okay? And look what he did with Syria yesterday. He dropped the sanctions. Okay, they have a new president, wants to give them a chance. Okay, give them an opportunity. He asked them stop killing Christians in your country. All right, he's giving them a chance. He's rolling out a red carpet for them with this olive branch. Look what he did with Qatar. All right, Qatar. which we'll get into the plane that they offered. But they're ordering it's $96 billion from Boeing in planes, 160 planes that they're committing to, and an additional 50 after that. That's huge numbers. Look at Saudi Arabia, the commitment they made for $600 billion, okay? The data centers and AI, all through the US for our economy, okay? This is what's going to help people. Look at what he's doing. The last administration didn't do this under Biden and that, okay? They stayed away from the Middle East. They funded a war. They created a huge situation of even more hatred between Israel and Palestine. It's ridiculous what's going on. But Trump's coming into it. And he's also wants to, move the Abraham Accords that he started in his first term, where he wants to unite the Arab world. He's going to the United Arab Emirates today. So we'll find out what happens there. But now Iran's next on the block. He's creating relationships. He wants to create peace. It's amazing what he's doing. Totally amazing. Your thoughts, Jonathan?
President Trump could go down as one of the most influential presidents ever, just off of, what he's doing right now. Like you said, extending the olive branch, creating friends that were never there or that once left. The respect that America has been getting. If you watch, like, they rolled out the red carpet for every one of these, like the Crown Prince was there. They're all giving him what we want and what we need is the respect, and he's giving it right back. It's not like he's saying I'm your leader. He's giving it right back, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And again, America's winning, right? America's winning when we're all friends, and when we create those relationships, opportunities arise. Like business, that's what he's doing. He's creating a bigger business playing field for everyone, and it's going to be better for the countries in the Middle East. War doesn't do anything. War creates disaster.
No,
So get
it
out of
does.
wars, create more opportunity, create more freedom. And listen, I hope, for the people of Iran, I hope there's something that can be made, because I think if we're all on the better, and if everyone's better off, everyone's happy, everyone's free, it's going to be a better place for everyone.
You know, you may not know this because you're younger, but if you look at where Iran was before the Ayatollah came in '79, you look at Iran back in the '50s and '60s and '70s under the Shah, you'll see it was very westernized. Women weren't covered up. Women were playing, soccer in the soccer field with their shorts and everything else. It was a very westernized nation, and back in '79, everything changed when the Ayatollah came in. So, they're trying. I think Trump wants to try to bring that back. Bring that back for Iran, but it might be a little bit of a tough thing since the Ayatollah is still in charge there. But we also look at what's happening, with Russia and the Ukraine. Okay, they're in Turkey right now. Putin hasn't shown up, but imagine when because it's going to get settled. It's definitely going to get settled. You're going to have Trump fly to Russia. Lazinski's going to be there. Putin's going to be there. And who's going to be right in the middle, bringing them together? Trump, and it's going to be a great photo op, but he's bringing peace to the world. Like you said, we don't want war, okay? War doesn't accomplish anything except killing a lot of innocent people and tearing families apart. It doesn't work for anybody, okay? That's going to be huge. We're eventually going to get a deal with China. It's going to happen. So then you're going to see him and Xi, all right? And that's going to end up happening sometime this year. This is all going to fall in place. Let's go in. What's going to happen in 2026? What's happening in America in 2026? Do you know, Jonathan?
Tell me. What do you say?
The 250th anniversary of our country.
Yeah.
Okay? That's huge. It's big. Everybody should understand that. But also what's happening too, the U.S. is hosting the World Cup. It's all happening at June and July. And July 4th is our happy birthday to America. And the World Cup's going to be here. You're going to see Trump bring in probably 150 leaders from around the world. And he's going to have this grand party with the World Cup going on, the largest, most popular sport in the world, soccer. While it's happening here under America's banner of 250 years together, And Trump also turns 80 years old next June. So a lot going on. So 2026 is going to be a huge year. Usually a midterm year, the stock market doesn't do well. But I'll tell you this, I bet the house that 2026 is going to be a very rare year, probably one of the top 3 years for the stock market and investments and IPOs in America's history, because Trump is setting the stage for it. He's setting the stage for America. The Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, all Americans, he's setting the stage for us. Look at it that way. Don't look at it like, oh, he's Trump. He's a crazy orange man. The man is setting the stage. I don't agree with him 100%. Okay. Kind of like how Qatar wants to, give him a plane, a Boeing plane to use as Air Force One. I would say thank you, but no thanks, because I don't want to give stones to be thrown to me at me by the Democrats and people who don't like me. That's why. But also for safety reasons, I wouldn't take that plane. Not saying Qatar is going to do anything, but I'd rather have the plane Air Force One built from nuts and screws here in America under the guidance of the American military. That's just me personally.
I mean, listen, the gesture was there. It was a great gesture. So what he does and how it
100%.
works out, great. But I think that's just what we've been missing, right? We're missing that leader that can take us through the mix and handle what we need to get handled. And I do think that, the years ahead are going to be much brighter. Only time will tell. But
Hmm.
along the way, we'll report and we'll have conversations and discussions about it and kind of just work on getting your feedback.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Tom Lee, a big investor, he still has the conviction that the S&P is going to hit 6,600 by the end of the year. Okay. So, I mean, that'll be phenomenal. Hey, listen, if my portfolio's up December 31st, which I feel it will be, it'll be up versus January 20th. We're on the right course. That's the way I look at it. Jonathan, that's all I got to say for now. Any closing remarks?
I mean, just again, like, please, give us some feedback, give us your comments, and we'll maybe next time we'll try and take one of those comments and we'll talk about it in the next video.
You got it. Well, listen, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up, hit that heart on TikTok. You guys have a great day. Take care.